Eden Cause here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Hopefully y'all know me at this point. Eden, Just Be, Spiritual Boom. We're on episode 122, or I guess I should say I'm on episode 122, which is friggin' amazing. And this is Greatest Hits number 4. I love doing these compilations because I try and take out really interesting tidbits from guests who've been on the show. And these are people who are ascended, who are going through this battle with light and love. It's just amazing. We have people represented from America, and this one, Europe, Australia. So there are 11 folks that we're about to showcase. It's really good, if I don't say so myself. Now, before we begin, I really wanted to go and I'm going to get serious for a moment. Oh, in association with the Grassroots Network. I don't think I said that before. Now, I have talked about being able now to do these COVID vaccine healings, and I've done, now I've got several under my belt, and they are incredible. And everybody's different with what's experienced. And part of it when I first started was, what am I going to see and what am I going to feel? It is amazing. So my friend Lisa, who's doing this as well, so we got another blood test, and this one I'm going to show it. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or one of those, I really encourage you to go onto YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute and really watch this. So this is before and after live blood samples of a gentleman who was really not doing so well, also presenting symptoms of MS. So live blood sample before the healing and then 10 days after. Look at this in front of your eyes. It is miraculous. And I feel a huge difference with people that I'm working with as well. So I just did one. So I can do these face-to-face and remote as well. I just had a client in Germany who wasn't exhibiting major physical symptoms from the vac, yet there was, after it occurred, just this, I haven't been happy since then. And when we finished, it was like this weight has been lifted off, because I'm also seeing that the components in the vaccination really target areas of you that are weak, or it goes in there and it just magnifies issues. So yeah, look at those. It's amazing. Also, and this will be my last thing, look at my little shirt here. So swag is officially merchandise, officially live. So this one is AFGO, another effing growth opportunity. And it's so fun. I have to give Shannon, thank you for that. And she said she didn't come up with it yet. She's the one I heard it from. So yeah. And then I'm going to show you guys this one too. Hashtag Eat the Rich. And if you're not familiar, that hashtag is trending on TikTok. So let's go. And now we're going to be officially starting. All right. First, we have episode, and these are no particular order. Episode 106, Quantum and Sound Healing Practitioner, SaraWolf. Do a little screen capture first. So give me that juju, Sarah. Juju.
Woo!
And then I do some of this.
Oh, you got some juju shaking?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Okay.
Get ready?
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. We're moving in.
We're moving in. Oh, and we're both purple. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
I just pulled this out of my closet. So it said, wear this sweater.
Oh my, and I just put this jacket on. Well, here we go. Okay. What a magnificent start. Love that. I love it, because one of the shows or documentaries that kind of really started opening my eyes was Out of the Shadows. And they talk about how dark Hollywood is. Yet they also say there are so many people in Hollywood that are attempting to bring goodness and light. So yeah, just
that alone,
mimicking what you're saying.
is what's interesting to me, because I wrote off Hollywood and have the voiceover is a different beast. It's kind of a separate, like, they kind of cross, but not really. It's its own thing. And you're just at your home. I have a voiceover booth in my house, and like, you're just by yourself, you're spitting out the stuff and you're moving on. But especially through the pandemic, I was like, I am done. I want to have nothing to do with this world. So the fact that a manager came out of nowhere, asked me to come back, I wasn't expecting it. And being where I'm at in my work and how confident I am in what I'm doing, and knowing now, because I have all the information that I didn't have when I was 20 and came to LA, I get why I'm part of that team that's meant to go back in and go deep and start restructuring and bringing light into Hollywood. And I wouldn't have thought that would have came back on my path that way. I had no idea.
Wow, because isn't it right that you moved to LA to basically become an actress?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up dancing, came to LA to do, I mean, to get out of Minnesota and be in sunshine was like number one. And then, yeah, to be a part of the entertainment industry, I just always had a really big calling to film. And what's funny about it, though, is that this is where my veil and my like unconscious, where I wasn't awakened, is I looked at, because of being an artist, I looked at Hollywood. I didn't know. I actually didn't. I knew there was some like dark, weird stuff, but I didn't know how deep that rabbit hole went. When I knew when I was young, I was going to be an actress, and I came to LA when I was 20, and I thought I could go in and help awaken people back then. I didn't know how, who, what, when, where, or how. That was always my mission. Like, and I would get mad at celebrities, like, you have this platform, like, why are you doing dumb stuff? Like, I didn't get them, like, you're their puppet. I didn't get these things, and I wasn't understanding why more things weren't helping raise consciousness, because I looked at artists, and what do artists do is they're here to expand the mind and the soul and the whatever. So where Hollywood got me, and I was blinded to, even though it's so weird, that spirit was guiding me and keeping me protected. And it's like, when I could have success, it wouldn't quite, when I was in my 20s, like fully happen. And I was like routed around, because I get why now. I didn't have all the information, and there was stuff I didn't know. So I was being protected in a way to like have the taste of it, understand it, but it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't my time to be in this world. But I was like hanging out with, like, you name them, I hung out with them or was in the same room with, like, everyone. The keys were handed to me in the city in Hollywood, but I didn't fully take it. And I exited Hollywood in 2004, even though I still lived in LA. I kind of like pulled myself out of it. And
Episodes 93 and 99, Interstellar Agents and PhDs, my only regular guest, Pia Orleane and Cullen Baird Smith. For a second, do y'all agree with that, or what do you think?
Absolutely.
Well, Hayden Larkin has been telling the public that for years, that they will not interfere with human choice, but the one thing that they will do is prevent us from destroying the earth with a nuclear holocaust. They've been telling the public that for years. So I'm glad Bashar's team is now speaking up, because truth comes from many sources, but it's not an original idea, because the Pleiadians have been trying to get humans out of the fear state and to understand that reality for almost 2 decades.
They know that we make lots of mistakes as a species.
What?
And they assure us that the beings that are capable of keeping the finger off of a major nuclear bomb attack will be stopped no matter what. And they say that because they know that cosmic law, universal law, as Pia just stated, doesn't allow more evolved species to prevent things that would cause a civilization not to evolve as they would normally in their own process. So the only thing they can do is to keep us from blowing ourselves up.
We have recordings on our website of Lartma's telling the world this and everything else they've been telling the world for 20 years. And we can attest that we have been in public gatherings where Larkma has interrupted a presentation we were doing and said, excuse us, we will be back in a moment. And there's silence. I could say dead silence, but there's complete silence in the room. And about 30 seconds or a minute later, they're back and they say, excuse us, we had to remove someone's finger off the button and calm down their emotional state. So we know that it's already been done. That's been being done. I think the first time we had that happen to us was about 15 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
we were in a really large weekend symposium that was organized around Larkma's wisdom. And I think the audience was shocked. Number one, they just stopped speaking after they said, excuse us. But then when they came back and explained it, I think people were amazed that that was even possible.
But I want to take a second because we've never talked about the Pleiadians. Okay, who are they? Give us your knowledge.
Well, first of all, are you asking who are the Pleiadians or who is the group that we work with called Larkma?
Both.
Two questions are separate.
Both.
Right. Larkma is from far, far away, not from this system, ancient, more ancient than the Pleiadians, but they use the Pleiadians as a star base because the energies are resonant. They hold the same frequency as the Pleiadians. They're all about love. They're here to help us, but they are much older and from much farther away than the actual Pleiadians who are on Pleiades.
Okay, we have never talked about this, which I'm just like, oh my God, this is so great. Okay, go ahead, Cullen.
Well, they choose the Pleiadian star system as a base because, as Pia just said, they are from much, much further out into the galaxies. And so many humans are so associated and connected with the term Pleiadian that because of what Pia just explained, that their core beliefs, their core understandings of love and light, service, and unity, thank you, is so much like the Pleiadians. They chose that name or that area because so many humans are so involved with the ancient connection with the Pleiadians. So it was a definite, purposeful choice of saying we're from the Pleiades, even though it's not quite accurate.
And they also have connected us, and we have spoken with many, many times, the Pleiadian Council. So there is a definite energetic and philosophical alignment between the Pleiadians and Larkma's group.
So it's a unified, absolutely connected group of beings that have the same cosmic outlook, they have the same cosmic understanding, and yet they're not quite the same group, but so close in probably vibratory understanding that they're almost synonymous.
Wow. Okay, can you talk just a second about the Pleiadians? But that was kind of a combo of both, but yes, if there's more.
Pleiadians are a culture like humanity that evolved through their own sociological system, beliefs, patterns of behavior. They went through an evolutionary process that is very similar to what humanity is going through. And they are at a place now where they are in energetic form. They used to walk on the earth and be beside humans, but they don't do that anymore because every single time they have done that, humans have said, oh, we can't do what you do. You must be a god. And the Pleiadians don't want that. They want us to see the Pleiadians and Larkma as well as brothers and sisters. They were all on an evolutionary journey. So Larkma and the Pleiadians all want us to be able to buck up and do what they do, which means step out of your habitual patterns, step out of your belief systems, expand your heart, open your compassion, stop being judgmental, get a life.
Which which all comes under one very simple idea. Take personal responsibility for yourselves and your actions and your thoughts, and do a better job than you've been doing for eons of time. They had to learn their own mistakes. They had to learn their own tests, their own lessons along the way, but they are so much older than humanity that they have a wiser, larger, bigger scope of understanding of the big picture, the cosmic picture.
What I find very interesting, Eden, is so many people will say, I saw a Pleiadian, but they may be seeing the energy, but the Pleiadians are not here in physical form any longer. They can represent themselves in any form they want.
We've seen them.
We've seen them ourselves, but they are not walking among us looking like humans.
And that brings,
that's the difference.
And that brings up, did I interrupt?
Uh-uh.
That brings up a huge misunderstanding. So many people say, well, the Pleiadians are 7 or 8 feet tall. They're very Aryan looking. They all have long blonde hair, blah, 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 blah. And Pia and I are not the authority on the
presentation of interstellar beings.
Yeah, I mean, we know the experiences that we've had, and we.
Episode 96, Angelic Earth Resonator, Jennifer Wrobel. Then, yeah, tell us about angels being fierce.
Angels. I love angels. So this is very interesting, and maybe you can relate to this too, Eden. It's like, okay. I was never the fluffy angel person. Like I'm not a fluffy angel person. Like I've experienced a whole lot of trauma like in this life and healed a lot too, but I'm not delusional about the fluffy side. I don't believe it's all puppies and rainbows
because it ain't.
Because I know it's not, yes. And so I was in nothing, not to say that the angel people are like that, but I was always kind of veering away from the soft angel visions and the more Christian or cherubs, or I don't know. I don't want to put down Christianity. I'm not saying that at all, but just that's more stereotypical vision of angels and the angel healers and angel things. I was never drawn to it. Doreen Virtue, like I liked her back in the day. We'll say that back in the day. But it wasn't my thing. So when my guides very specifically said, angelic earth resonance. And I was like, angelic? Like, are you serious? We're putting angel in the name? Really? I'm going to be in like one of those, and here I am activating Kundalini and speaking light language. And I'm like, angelic? I thought of like angelic as softer, clouds, floating, pastel colors. We have that like stereotype of angels. And so they're like, no, this is the name. It's encoded. Don't argue, basically.
So Jennifer, we don't want to hear your remarks. We can, but this is it. Like fierce, like, come on, woman, step it up.
Right. Well, and so one of the angels that was very strongly behind the body of work, it was Metatron, one of the archangels. Metatron was one of the ones behind there. So, and I knew that I had gotten messages around that. So I thought, well, maybe because of Metatron, it's angelic. So what I came to discover is, I got a whole new education on the word angelic, on the meaning of angelic or what it means to me. And I found that, we think of angels as soft and fluffy. And yes, they are very loving and they can be so nurturing and fluffy and compassionate and soft when that's what we need. But they're also warriors and they're fierce and they're powerful and, they're nothing to mess with, to say the least. Yeah, so they have a power that is that undeniable, I guess is what I want to say. But what they started to show me too is that I had been, looking at the stereotypical Christian angels, what I see in the Bible and even the archangels, things like that, or Judeo-Christian, I should say. And so, but they showed me, they're like, no, there's an angelic realm. There's a frequency that these beings resonate in, and there are a lot of beings that resonate within the angelic frequency. And so this is what I started to discover, that a lot of these star beings that we connect with, that on a high level, who are here for the highest good, they're in an angelic frequency. They might, the ones that were talking to me when I was little from the Pleiades, there's a reason I felt like they were angelic, because they are, but they're not like our stereotypical angels or the archangels. There's different like types of beings in this angelic frequency, is what they taught me. And so there's dragons there, there's unicorns there, there's insectoids there, there's Pleiadians, Syrians, Andromedans, you know, there's all kinds of beings there. And maybe not all of those beings, maybe not all of, you know, not every dragon in the universe, not every Pleiadian in the universe, but there is an angelic realm, and it's about tapping into that. And that is where our higher selves vibrate as well, when we talk about earth angels and embodying our light. And so that's what they started to show me, is that this body of work helps us embody our angelic self, or our light, or our higher self, bring our expansive, eternal, universal radiance into this embodied experience for the ascension, for ourselves, for Gaia, for all of humanity. And so in order to do that, like, you have to be fierce. Like, to hold the light is not for the weak. And it's interesting how people a lot of times will take that quote from the Bible of like, the meek will inherit the earth. And so some people have alluded to that being now the people who know how to open their hearts and live in love and come into unity consciousness. Because it's not about, because the old paradigm will say that meek is weak. And the new paradigm is like, no, to be humble, to be vulnerable, to be full of love and compassion is strong, is strength, is fierce, is what is going to build our lives going forward in the higher consciousness that we're moving into. And so, you know, we have to move as a collective, even. We have to move through these shadows. We have to move through these experiences. And so there's a fierceness that comes through, an ability to fight with love, or for the highest calling of love.
Episode 102, Soul of Color, Hayden Crawford. And okay, knowing that you've moved into Australia and it was delightful for you to talk about all the colors that are there, yet knowing that during this time, it's very oppressed there. With you being there, do you feel that? What's it like around you?
I don't feel that at all. You know, it's interesting how America perceives Australia, because it's not, when you're here, it's not like that at all. Like, I was actually grateful when the COVID lockdown happened. It was Fortress WA where I live, you know, and I was like, fantastic. This gives me a chance to be able to not, you know, to actually stay at home and really focus in. My business took off during that time because a lot of people were searching for answers. The amount of starseed numerology reports I was doing, I had to hire the help of my husband to help me be able to get through them all, because people were just waking up in droves back in 2020, because, you know, there was a massive shift in consciousness. You know, as people had time to themselves to reflect, they started realizing that there was more to life than their physical reality. And so that's why they call it, you know, part of the 2020 awakening was the starseed awakening, you know. And so we were guiding a lot of people through that process, you know, not only through the reports, but also through retreats that we run, and through sessions as well, through regressions and all sorts. So we just saw a huge turning point, and particularly over the significant astrological dates, and like the Lionsgate activation portal, or the 1111, and the 22 you know, sort of stuff as well that happened, the 12-12 22, and you know, all of those really significant astrological dates where big shifts were happening, because people being activated by new light codes. The DNA was being you know, sort of transmuting to be able to hold more light, so more and more people were receiving information. And I was really grateful, you know, for that period of break, you know, of rest and reset, in Australia that we had, because it was shut down. It was shut down and locked down in such a significant way, especially in WA. So it was a blessing. I always see everything in life that happens as a blessing, not a like it's problem. I don't see things as problematic. I always see the underlying story behind it, and I know that it's always for our purposeful good.
Episode 39, and we had issues with the video on this one. Quantum Medical Intuitive, Winifred Adams. All right, I do want to ask you first in terms of awakening to all the events that are going on. And this podcast started out with just me, and I'd have guests who are my clients and gently just, oh, have you looked at this? And I would pose questions. And 4 episodes, no, yeah, 4. You're my 4th guest.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and it's, I have to tell you this, Winifred, too. I didn't plan it, but my first guests were dudes. And I'm like, hey, the divine feminine energy, come on, Eden, what are you doing? Come on, we need to do this. How did you become awake to all that is happening in the world? Because there is so much going down the rabbit hole for me too. It's like every day there's something new that's exposed that I see. How did you start seeing things?
That's an interesting question. I was really waking up and exposed to these things back in 1998, 97, 98. And I had found a book. Remember the Pleiadian books, the Bringers of the Dawn and all that? That had me alerted to the fact that we're coming up on times eventually that would be revealing. Then I did deep dives in the spirit world and was ceremoniously prepared for the upcoming events that maybe would put us in a position where we didn't have electricity and water. So I've been preparing for that for a long time. And eventually, fast forward, I created a first of its kind preparedness program through the CERT team and technically FEMA in Malibu, California, using disaster bins for evacuation zones and things like that. And then they mimicked that throughout the world, I guess. So that was something that was in my forefront. But everything I do is more or less inspired. So it comes as an inspiration, like, we need to do this now. And then everything lines up to do that. And I don't always know why. I just have a sense that this time would be coming. I just didn't know all the particulars. So in the last 3 or 4 years, those particulars have been coming out more to me, and I got thrust into a series of events that's book worthy. That's a long story, really.
Okay.
Of how the dark side tries to interrupt the light. And specifically, they tried to interrupt me in my life, to putting my music out, to putting my message out, to my own home, to all kinds of things. So they really kind of tagged me somewhere along the way. I don't actually know why, but when they did, I recognized it. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I just didn't know the extent of it. So as I got further along, I learned the extent of it. I understood almost by firsthand experience of their meddling with me, if you will, to do that.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. So because I do want to know more. So part of me was like, I knew that there was this battle in from the good, the light and the dark, and Satan and God, and I had stayed away from like evil. And then I did a house clearing where the evil was right in front of my face. And I didn't realize how, and I've talked about this, how major, because they were like demons, and they showed me taking my physical body and just tearing it to shreds. That was a pivotal moment for me, because even though I know about child trafficking and I've seen pictures of harm that's done, and I haven't really talked about this, but I really want to open it up in terms of Satanism, in terms of the ceremonies that are done. That moment for me was transformative, because it really let me see how intense things are. So is there anything specific you can share in terms of what happened to you?
Well, I had dated somebody, and now that I look back on it, I see their progression of craziness and maybe demonic behavior. And I had question marks all along the way, like, what is going on here? And it progressively changed. So I think that person was introduced to those things or ceremonies along the way. And then I watched them change. And I said, what's going on with you? Like, what are you doing? And I woke up one night and I just knew there was something dark in the room. There wasn't anything physically there, but I knew there was something dark and I needed to get out. And I literally got out of bed and I went home. Like, I'm out of here.
Okay, so you were with him.
Yeah, and I couldn't explain it. I didn't know. And I didn't know about child trafficking at that point. I didn't even know that.
Ugh.
I just knew there was nefarious darkness, but I didn't look at it, and I really don't even look at it as what you described. I know that exists. I've helped a lot of people with those things and helped remove these energies from people, but I don't dwell in that place. I just recognize it was a battle for me. And he would say to me, are you still meditating? Like, are you still threaded? And I'm like, yes, I am. Okay. And then eventually I stepped away from this person, of course, but I couldn't make sense of why this was happening.
Right.
It just didn't add up. Like, this is not what normal people do. What's going on here? And eventually I had more experiences, both in my music, and what they seem to do is they tend to take weak people and mess with their mind. So it changes their behavior. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that a lot. So that's something upcoming that people need to be careful of without being fearful. I don't want to get into the whole, oh my gosh, we have to fear everyone around us. I think that's going to tip the scale in a bad direction. But to recognize when something is working on someone else and call that forward and say to the person, are you okay? You're not behaving normally. You know, are you all right? Because if you're not all right, either I need to leave this situation or you need to correct. Something's going on here. And praying for people and bringing in the light around them is helpful, but they have to choose. If they don't choose, you have to step away.
Episode 90, High Priestess and Healer, Tiffany 10. Okay, how about we move to womb healing? Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, so womb healing is really beautiful for us that have wombs, but even men, they have a spirit womb, but womb can be also their own sexual organ as well. I just use the word womb because I tend to serve more women. We miss a lot of spiritual rituals in our culture, in the Western world, like when a girl menstruates, that's a rite of passage. When a maiden becomes a mother, that's a rite of passage. When a mother loses their menstrual cycle and they enter the crone stage, right? Those are all rites of passage. But I noticed that in Canada, there's no such thing to honor these stages of a woman's life. So when I was becoming a mother, I had to actively hire another healer who is a mother already with 3 kids, for her to initiate me as a mother. So that's like one aspect of womb healing, is just that re-honoring and acknowledging those seasons of being a woman. And then also womb healing as well, where if we have birth trauma is held in the womb. If we have abuse or sexual assault, right, that happened to our womb, that womb needs healing too. If we have wounds in regards to our own mothers, that's also carried in the womb. Because when our grandmother is carrying us, she's carrying the mother, but the mother already had the ovaries. So technically we were in our grandmother's womb, right? So
right.
All of these linked together. And I find that these were things I'm like, you know what? Like, it should be part of our culture. We should bring that into our practice and really honor, heal the womb. So rather it be, bringing back yourself as the baby in your mother's womb. And actually my husband, this healing for himself, even though he's a male, he did this womb healing where he was in his mother's womb because his father died while she was pregnant. And he can feel in the womb as a baby, her sadness.
Yeah.
He was crying, right, during the session. So males can do womb healing too, right? In those moments. So that's how he processed some of the feeling of grief that he carried from his mother, in an example like that. Yeah, but there are sometimes portals in the womb, right? There's sometimes blockages in the womb from past life, this life. So it's always worth it to connect with the womb or your reproductive organs to see what are you carrying from the previous generations. Because even in the physical level, we can carry heavy metal toxins or neurotoxins from our grandparents' generation to now. So physically, spiritually, it's all connected.
So much. I'll have you comment on this. So I saw a video. I don't think I've talked about this on the show before. A video recently, because we're taught that in terms of creating a baby, that there's the egg and there's all these sperm that are going towards the egg, and it's, the strongest sperm is gonna make it there. And in this video, it was like, that is totally not true. That the egg basically sends out this vibration. Tell me if I've got this right. And then the other sperm help this one sperm that is supposed to be the one who meets the egg. And suddenly I remember watching that going, oh my gosh, it is not what we were taught. It was not. It is such a magical experience. Like everything's magical. All right. What would you say to that?
Yes, I feel definitely there's, the dark side. Always feel the feminine is toxin because the feminine leads energetically. So if they create a slavery world where people don't nourish their intuition, which is the feminine side, then they win. So even like when you said about the egg story, it reminded me even the story of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, how that is also very nitpicked, right? And to make the women or the female always feel like less than, but the female is in all of us. So even the males now, sometimes if they carry energetic blockages, that part of themselves is also affected. So I feel that in the new earth, we're going to have a more balanced way of working femininely and masculine, both energy coming towards the same, like how male don't have to be like, oh, I'm the alpha male, I'm gonna win the egg. But like,
yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm the sperm and I'm the one who was the fittest sperm. Now we're on 98. Music medicine pioneer Howard Richman. So I'm very excited to get to that. I do want to ask you this question. So in the 1930s, the dear Rothschilds, love them. Not really, but I do. I send them love and light. Weaponized music. I'm curious with your standpoint on this. Taking the vibrational frequency was taken away and replaced by the 440 frequency. I'm reading this so I don't mess it up. Versus 432. So 440 distorts the energy, distorts the frequency. What do you think about all of that?
Oh wow, you've done all this research. I don't fit, even though I'm a holistically inclined and even though I'm very spiritual and I allow the guidance of God in my life every day, and even though I'm highly trained as a musician, and even though I'm very aware of sound frequencies, I put that in the category of disinformation. Okay?
Yes, please explain
Okay,
your
because
perspective.
the cabal traditionally gives little tidbits of truth to make you think that that's the real deal, you know? And then you get all hyped up on that, right? But there is no 432 versus 440. We are all unique beings and we all have our own frequency, right? Each person has a unique frequency. So the idea that it was the original frequency of 432 that Beethoven had was distorted. Uh, it, yes, maybe there was a standardization, but in Europe they do 444. I mean, there's still gray areas, right? Right.
Yeah.
And in well, that's just the tuning of one note. That's the A, and then they reference all the other notes against that. But if you talk to a piano tuner, they don't tune properly, they stretch the tuning so that as you go lower and as you go higher, it's not just exactly, this is the A440, and this should be A880, and this should be twice that. No, as you go out into the higher and lower octaves, it's a parabolic curve. So the highest A on the piano is not 4 times higher than this. It's actually 4.5 times higher, because over time our ears want to hear it a certain way, right? So there's already a distortion. But if you go back to listening to just intonation or mean tone tuning, where they had on harpsichords in the 1500s, and there are some die-hard people who are purists about that, it sounds awful, because because we're accustomed to the stretch tuning in our modern society. So I personally think, to come back to your question, that distortion or that standardization that was started by the CIA or the Rothschilds or whomever, I don't think that is causing the illnesses and the mind control that those websites claim. However, there is something to the heartbeat, which is in 3/4 time, which is going boom, 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 boom. There's an organic, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And when you listen to rock, where that's 4/4 time, and you have the emphasis on the place where there would be a pause. So instead of bum, bum, pause, it's boom, boom, boom. So there's certain music, not that I don't like rock music or pop music with a heavy beat. I'm not saying that. But it's not so much the tuning that is affecting us, but the rhythm is pulling us away from our true nature. It's the rhythm that often does that. Now, here's a really interesting thing that my teacher at UCLA, no, at CalArts, shared with us. His name was Leonid Hambro. He was fantastic. So I'm going to play the same song 2 different ways. One where I play the right notes in the wrong rhythm.
Okay. And
the other one, I'll play the right rhythm and the wrong notes. And usually you think, well, okay, those are the 2 primary parts of music, the right notes, which is called the pitch, and the rhythm. But 99% of people assume, well, it's the right notes that is the most important thing to convey the essence of the song. Can you identify the song?
No, I can't.
Now I'm going to play all the right rhythms, but the wrong notes.
Okay. So happy birthday to you.
That's correct.
Whoa.
So what does that tell us? It tells us that the rhythm conveys more of the essence of the music than the notes themselves. Is that amazing?
Yes, that is striking. Okay, so let me. Okay, now we're on 100. And y'all know sometimes I get names messed up because Duccio, lovely. Director of PSYCH-K, Duccio Locati.
The world as it is now, you see society, you see the role of artificial intelligence, you see how much everything in society is trying to dehumanize us, to take away our connection with nature, our connection with our intuition, we are in a very left brain society, obsessed by details, obsessed by logic, obsessed by it's only what you can demonstrate mathematically exist. okay, the left brain is important, but also the right brain, that's the holistic, that the one that can see the big picture, is essential. And now we are in a very extreme left brain society that also is pretty, in some way, pretty scary. And that's why, for me, applied spirituality, the connection with our spirit, and so connecting and bringing down in our three-dimensional life, in our day-to-day life, the wisdom of our spirit, and starting to apply it is vital. For me, it's the only way out. Otherwise, we are lost. And that's.
I'm going to add into that. So I've been doing my work over 20 years. So that was the big thing with my current teacher. You know, it's very easy to live up here because it's just magical. Exactly. And to bring it down into this it takes guts. It takes, because man, if we could just live but then you also, being here, you're detached from your physical. It's just what you said. It's bringing all of it here, which is so important. It's so important to be human. It's so important. I don't care how psychic or intuitive or how healing you are, to be a real human being, especially at this time. And I love what you said about dehumanizing the left brain. It's time to move into the magic of it all. So tell me about 91 heavy metal musician, Sufi, and cannabis wellness coach, Scott von Heldt. We'll see. I did want to ask you, since you are in the rock world, I want to know what your note is a little bit later. So I want to know your take, or if you've heard anything about, this was in 2017, the apparent suicide of Chris Cornell of Soundgarden and Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. And just to give others who may not be familiar with this, their suicide deaths, I'm using air quotes here, were in months of each other. There was a Haiti connection, which is also connected to Anthony Bourdain, who reportedly committed suicide. Potentially, John Podesta was Chester's father. The Clinton Foundation was tied into it. And potentially, Chris and Chester were about to out a lot of famous people in terms of sex trafficking and pedophilia. Have you heard about that at all in your world? What do you think, Scott?
I appreciate you bringing that up. Inshallah, Lord willing, I hope they're both still alive. And I think that they may be. And I hope that they're in some sort of a witness protection program or something like that, because yes, I do believe that they were on the right path, and we were about to they were working on a documentary film together about pedophilia and about human trafficking and all the things that we see in Hollywood that that we're starting to hear about, that a lot of people call us all conspiracy nuts and things like that, right? And this is a really big issue for me, being a musician, being an artist, being from heavy metal and hard rock, and a lot of darker themes in a lot of the music. I have a 12-year-old daughter now, and my biggest problem is with music. The stuff that she listens to, the things that I hear, I'm like, man, this is a 14-year-old girl singing about sleeping in the bed that we made and things like that. It's just, so now I understand what my parents were yelling about, some of those things that I was listening to maybe back in the day. Yes. But in terms of those two gentlemen, they were lights. They were strong, powerful lights. I had the opportunity to see both of them live. I saw Linkin Park very early on in their career. Got a chance to meet Chester early on, and just great people. And I do truly believe that they were on a mission to right the wrongs and out some of this. And unfortunately, when people start to speak out about truth, there's a risk and a danger that comes over them. But I would like to believe that they're still alive in some sort of a witness protection program, and I certainly hope we get to hear them sing again.
Episode 92, heart steward and human rights advocate. Love her, Misty Flowers. Then what happened?
I think the next big one was the flood, Hurricane Katrina. A friend of mine was in Louisiana at the time, And again, huge disaster strikes. FEMA comes in, and then I saw, because I had somebody that was there, seeing how it was being mismanaged, and it seemed like on purpose almost. And again, I just thought something's terribly wrong when you're not allowed to ask questions. You're not allowed to. There's just a lot of questions about it. There were people that were trying to truck in supplies and they were being stopped. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And the lack of support, huge amount of money comes in, and yet the people that are in the disaster generally don't, they just fall through the cracks and they go into poverty. So that was probably the second big thing. And then the vaccine thing, my firstborn was vaccine injured. So on that front, when my firstborn was vaccine injured, I started asking questions, and again, was really shut down from being able to ask questions. So something intuitively was like, there's something wrong with this. The truth
so
doesn't need
what
to be
happened
hidden.
in terms of injury? What?
My daughter started having she started showing signs of behavior stuff at first, hitting her head on things when she would get angry, and just having these outrages. She started doing a little bit of the toe walking, just a little bit, and then she had a seizure a little after a year old, and they called it a febrile seizure, even though she didn't have a fever. They never could pinpoint it, and Children's Hospital didn't even want to look at it. They said, if she keeps having seizures, we'll take a look. And I said, what do you mean you'll wait until she has more before you start looking at it? So then again, of course, I'm being guided to look into the vaccine stuff, and when I wanted to ask questions to the doctors, you were not allowed to even ask that question. And that's when I stopped vaccinating my daughter and started learning more. And then my two younger never got vaccinated. They are way healthier. They've been through public school and daycare systems, no problem. They've never caused any outbreaks. So I really just started to question my reality and our social structures, and define for myself, like, how do I want to parent and protect my kids? Because that's my job, right? To do what's best for me and my family. So.
And to round us out, episode 103, Cosmic Ocean Frequency Facilitator, Arika Feruzzi.
Just be practice.
Let's see, maybe we can do a brief meditation. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, you ready? Okay, first let's rub our hands. And let's start
if you could do some motion in there, that'd be great. All right.
Motion, and let's rub our hands and then start feeling your hands. Okay, and now with your fingers, make a tiger claw, and then tap tiger claw, and then tap the sides of your neck, and then just be gentle with the sides of the neck, and let's take deep breaths in into your chest, and breathe out. Keep tapping, but move down to the base of the throat, and breathe in, and breathe out. And then down center of your chest, fingertips, breathe in, slowing down, and breathe out. Hear your breath, empty your lungs, and slowly stop. And both hands on your chest, and just feel your chest for just a moment, relaxing your gaze or closing your eyes. And just notice the sensations of touch in your palms, on your chest, the breathing motion, find your heart rate. Good, and now just relax your arms, sit on your laps, palms down, palms up, it doesn't matter. And then maybe move your spine a little bit. Move your neck, especially if you're thinking, move your head, feel your neck. Move your spine a little. If you're leaning back on a chair, please move forward a little bit. And then fully come to a stop. And again, with your gaze relaxed towards the floor, with your neck straight or eyes closed, let's visualize your pillar of light. So a beautiful string of light right in front of your spine. Push the sky with the top of the head, aligning, noticing the sensations in the neck, and come down to the space in the lower belly. Please relax your belly. Now, using your mind screen, please visualize the space just above your head and the space below your feet, connecting the energy line to the space above your head and below your feet. Let's draw the energy from the earth through the space below your feet, right into your feet, whether you're sitting or standing. Expanding the energy through the rest of your body, moving up
And at the same time, we can visualize a beautiful cosmic bright energy coming in through the space just above your head and trickling down little beads of light into the crown chakra, moving down through your energy line and meeting the energies of the earth as you come down. Please feel the center of your chest. Bring the energy down, all the way down past your feet and into the earth. Very good. Now please visualize the center of your body in the lower abdomen, a beautiful, bright sphere of light in the center of your body. This is the lower Tanjan or Tantian, the energy source, Earth's palace. From here, please merge the energies of the cosmos and the energies of the earth in the center of your body, and visualize it breathe and expand in brightness and size. Notice what color it is for you today, what shape, and expand the brightness, light, and size as you breathe in with the earth and the cosmos in the center of your body. Please visualize your energy sphere becoming bigger and bigger, moving outwards through the many, many layers of your energy and spiritual bodies, outwards in all directions. Feel the lightness in your physical form, merging physical sensations, energy sensations. Imagine your outer layer of your energy fields just like a sponge. Breathing in, pulling the energy back in to the center of the body, as if it was a magnet. And allowing any miscommunication to be transformed in useful information. Miscommunication or tears in the energy field, and the barriers between the energy fields to be smooth. Allow the breathing, and physical breathing, energy breathing, spiritual breathing to merge and become one with the rhythm of the whole universe. Good. Now come back closer and closer. Bringing bright golden energy back in, infusing every single layer of your energy fields, and come back in with your awareness into the center of your energy center in the lower abdomen. Feeling your physical body, breathing in and out. Good. Now please look forward. Let's lift the arms slowly out to the side, very gently. Making a motion with your palms up, lifting the arms, breathing in. Bending the elbows, and with your palms facing down, slowly come down, sweeping down the front of your chakra systems, entrance of the chakras. And 2 more times, lifting the arms. Allowing the energy of the earth to rise through the back of your whole body, creating a perfect orbit, balancing energies of the earth and the cosmos, and bring down energies of the skies down. And once more, lifting. And then, of course, you can just do this in your mind. You can visualize yourself making the movements. So good. Now let's rub our hands together once again. Feel your hands. If they're soft, cold, hot, just notice. And then let's make a motion of rubbing our face in a circular motion, touching, no touching, doesn't matter. Feel your hair, massage your hair and the neck, shoulder squeeze, and then sweep down in the shoulder. Caress your body, the lower back. Okay. Very nice. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you. I have to tell you, Enrica, I don't have any tattoos. I have never felt that was a thing for me. Yet I've been feeling recently some sort of sacred geometry on my back. This was like I've seen shapes before in meditation, but this was dramatic this time. So I saw simple shapes initially, like a triangle, a circle, and then they started all combining into these wonderful, massive, which is an interesting word to use, massive collection of intricacies of combining. So it was
beautiful.
Yeah, it was neat to, because I'm still considering it. I don't know if I'll do it, but that just that just helped me move more towards it. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do. What do you think about that? What do you think about a tattoo on my back with the sacred?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Okay.
I would like a giant humpback whale on my back. I might do that. We will see.
Do you have any tattoos?
No.
I don't either, because I always was
I
thinking
will.
like there's at this point nothing that I would want on my body for the rest of my life because I change all the time. So I'm still
Sure.
considering, if I get something, maybe that symbol would change or it would grow, or maybe I would have it grow on my back. I don't know. All right, you.
Thank
See you later.
Yeah,
See
bye.
all of y'all next week.
Bye.
Y'all find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like, subscribe, do it all. See ya.